what is K33 today, and what is Arcario today? Because you have been building a lot of different stories during the years.
Or we've been trying to build and find our way in the crypto industry, which is moving very rapidly. And then we kind of concluded and landed on kind of a conclusion, which is K33. And K33 is simply a broker. So it's an exchange service for trading cryptocurrency with a strong custody offering and with market analysis and assistance for those who need help. We are mainly working with larger clients, so high net worth family offices, those that are trading in larger volume. That said, our threshold is not too high. I mean, if you expect an annual trading volume of it's a kind of $10,000, $20,000, that's sufficient. So it's not the highest bar to cross, but we're really targeting the larger clients, and that's where we see that we can truly complement out with the other players out there. And what's been great is that we launched K33 1 year ago, kind of almost precisely 1 year ago. And if you look at the general market, like the volume in the market at the start of last year, that's about the same as it is now. So there has been no market growth in terms of volumes. We, on the other hand, without being too precise, because I have to save that for the numbers next week, have seen kind of a multifold growth in activity from our clients. So we're seeing that the clients are really happy with this offering, and they see that this is complementing what is already out there. We put a core emphasis on price and liquidity. So we are by far the cheapest offering in Norway, if you're trading directly with Norwegian kroner. But we're also cheaper than both Kraken and Coinbase and other international giants, unless you have some of their kind of really, really favorable high volume discounts. So that is K33. Then Arcario is the mother company. So in many ways, it's a holding company for K33 that is listed. In the past, and originally under the name Arcane Crypto, the company was primarily a portfolio business, being invested in a lot of different business lines. Some of those are those that we unified in K33, our hedge fund, our market research, and our exchange service, originally known as Kaupang. So those were consolidated into K33. We've then been in mining. That turned out to be a disaster. The business case was extremely strong when we launched, and then Bitcoin collapsed 60% at the same time as Norwegian power prices went 100x. So the mining is a business line we're now out of completely. So Arcario is mainly now K33 and also this early stage lending product called Vanir, which is basically a sub-product of K33, or that's the intention further down the line.
How much money did you lose on this mining business then?
So we had a good revenue stream for a while, but when we launched it, the repayment time of the equipment was kind of around 11 months. But that kind of changed dramatically as time unfolded. The precise amounts can be kind of read from the different reports, but it was a very deliberate bet. As a company, we are very long-term optimistic on Bitcoin. And Norway is a great destination for mining. Unfortunately, the combination of bottlenecks in the grid and the war in Ukraine made the southern Norway infeasible for mining. So we had to use a lot of resources moving that to northern Norway, which we did. And then the political climate has been too negative and created a lot of issues. There's nothing that's really been passed yet, or not much that's actually kind of made real difficulties yet. But the whole environment is unfortunately too negative towards mining, which truly could be a great industry for Norway. It could help stabilize the grid. It could help be a kind of value add. You now have, for instance, mining facilities that are using the leftover heat to heating buildings in Finnmark. But instead of focusing on those stories, the politicians have focused on their share of Bitcoin.
Okay, so that was then the politicians that didn't support the business concept and sort of. What about another type of industry, the traditional bank and finance? Are you still more on the road where you're building an alternative economy? Or can we also see more of a bridge towards the traditional finance? And what do they think about your products?
Yeah, so K33, our strategy is very clear. Right now, we work with end clients directly, but our goal is to become a preferred partner for players in the traditional financial industry. We are certain that every financial institution will have a crypto offering sometime, like they will launch that sometime during the next 5 years. But we're also as certain that most of them will not build this in-house. So we are in dialogue with several both fintechs and banks already, exploring how we can partner in a way where we can enable these institutions to launch a crypto offering. For the bank or asset manager, it can be a great value add. It can be a great way to do customer acquisition. And there are also ways to structure this where the banks doesn't have to have any worries on anti-money laundering, compliance, counter-terror financing compliance, and basically by launching it as a closed loop first, and then develop the product further. Meaning that by partnering with K33 as a bank, you could let your clients trade and invest, but not have crypto in and out. And then you can kind of expand that and allow deposits of crypto when you get up the learning curve and when you see, call it the business case. So one of the key triggers, I believe, will be MiCA, which in Europe is now coming into full effect on December 30th. And the really powerful thing with MiCA is that it clarifies the regulatory regime that is relevant for virtual currency providers like K33. But it also states that if you are a bank or a traditional financial institution, you don't need a MiCA license. If you have a traditional license, you don't need a crypto license in addition. So this really opens the door for TradFi to kind of start building out crypto services. And we are never going to become never say never, but there's nothing in our roadmap or plans for us to become a bank ourselves, but rather be an enabler of traditional banks to do crypto.
But is it then still a question about trust? So MiCA can maybe also be a psychological tool, because still in Norway, the Finanstilsynet haven't decided on their recommendation, as I understand. People are waiting for it in 2025. So this will take some time.
Well, definitely. So on bank partnerships, we are having the dialogues now. We are kind of sitting on drawing on the whiteboard together. But I expect kind of the earliest to be kind of an announcement of some LOI or some partnership closer towards the summer next year as kind of the earliest. But it's a long game, building that trust, that relationship, working with organization. And what you often see is that there are kind of brokers or people on the business side, product development, that really gets it and really like, wow, this would be great. But then working your way through compliance and with the board, getting the understanding from the stakeholders, that takes time. So that's something we want to start doing now, while the absolutely main focus, and that's for a whole Arcario. So Arcario is 100% focused on K33, which is then fully focused on the end clients where we get the business today. So that's what we do short term, while we prepare the ground for becoming a partner, or basically seeing the banks and traditional finance players as a distribution partner. So we're not going to offer the deeper level of text for those who want to build themselves, but rather working with those that are looking for a quick way to be able to launch a product with the complementary research, complementary advice, and kind of a one-stop kind of solution for for TradFi.
As you said, there's about 1 year ago that K33 was launched as a modern integrated platform. What is the roadmap on the product or services side?
So actually, earlier this week on Monday, we had a major update that we haven't really announced to the market yet, which is a completely new front end for the trading platform. So now we have a front end that is fully flexible, usable on mobile, and much more intuitive to use. A lot of people has criticized the previous front end and asked, like, how can you launch something like this in 2023? And our answer has been very simple. We prioritized security, prices, and liquidity first. From our point of view, when you trade crypto, at the end of the day, it's about how much money you make. And for us, that means that you have to trade on a desktop, so be it. Because if you actually trade in size, you're not going to be willing to spend extra, like tens and thousands of extra, just to do it on the phone. Now, however, you don't need to choose. You can do it on the phone. So that's a great kind of win. And we're getting a lot of positive feedback from users on the new UI. There will also be kind of an incremental development of that UI going forward. And we will also kind of wrap it into an app eventually. Next thing on the roadmap is instantaneous 24/7 bank deposits. So right now, you do bank deposits and you don't pay anything for doing that. But the challenge, especially for those who are from Norway, is that while the money arrived the same day, the info on who sent it only arrives the day after. So we are working with clients that reach out and we credit it instantaneously when they provide a proof that they were the ones sending it. But that's annoying for the clients and it's annoying for us because it's a lot of then manual kind of fast credits of deposits. What we're doing is that we're integrating a PSD2, so a solution where the users then initiate a bank transfer from their own bank and instantaneously will have that available for trading. And that will mean that you can then do an instant deposit without paying the type of cost you would do with credit card or VIPs. Like, 3.5% is what you would typically pay if you used VIPs for this. And you don't have the amount limits that also you would have with VIPs. So on a Sunday, if you want to buy for 5 million kroner, you can do that instantaneously. So that is coming relatively shortly and way before year end.
Are we moving towards the future in the financial system where the back end is blockchain and crypto and the front end is fintech?
It's a good question. So on the one hand, when we're now leveraging PSD2 for faster bank transfer, that is very much a part of the old infrastructure. What we're seeing is that the traditional infrastructure is really struggling. The fact that you get the sender information the day after in Norway, it's just a joke. Why can I receive the money the same day, but the information the day after? It doesn't make any sense in a digital world. So I think it will take a long time because there are a lot of kind of lock-ins and path dependency with the systems we have. But on the longer horizon, I'm pretty certain that we will get tokenization, meaning that we will get a switch from the traditional infrastructure to the crypto native infrastructure, to the blockchains. And that's the only way finance will be able to actually modernize at a deep level. Because I don't see it as realistic that, for instance, the trading infrastructure, which is closed during weekends, closed during the night, will be able to upgrade what is into a 24/7, but rather that when you issue tokens and securities, etc., on the blockchain, on platforms like K33, that already is 24/7, it becomes feasible. So I think the infrastructure over the next decade will switch to these public blockchains, to the infrastructure that is currently like cryptocurrencies are running on. And what you define as fintech, I would say a lot of fintech in the past has been making a great user experience on a crappy tech stack. I think fintech going forward will probably be more, of course, you'll still have to build good user experience, but they'll be able to do it on a better tech stack, the blockchain one, if you like.